What is up, viewer out there watching this Velorax back here, and this is actually the second time I needed to record this video because the first time Audition glitched out on me and I was so pissed off because I spent about half an hour talking about this. But regardless, this is the update to the top 25 most played songs on my iTunes library, which is the update to the update of what music I listen to. 2 years ago on February 14th, I uploaded the top 25 most played songs on my iTunes library. That list consisted of mostly My Chemical Romance, Green Day, Blink-182, Avenged Sevenfold, Fall Out Boy, and so on. And no individual artists, I can guarantee you. I have not watched that video in a long time. I can guarantee you there's no individual artists on there. Maybe Avril Lavigne, but other than that, most likely not. Anyways, I made this video because I wanted to update you guys on what music I actually do listen to, because that video was a long time ago and my music taste has very much expanded. It hasn't changed, it has just expanded. The core is still there, the pop punk and the alternative rock is still there, but there are just so many different branches of music that I listen to and enjoy nowadays than there was 2 years ago when I made that video. To make things a little bit easier for you guys, let's start a timeline going back to February 14th when the top 25 most played songs on my iTunes library video was uploaded. Now, from February 14th up until around August, I had been listening to the same stuff that had been in that video. You know, the pop punks, the Blink-182, Sum 41, Green Day, MCR, All Time Low, Avenged Sevenfold, all of that. And it wasn't until August 4th when a big change in my music taste came. This is when Slipknot released the Negative One. And don't get me wrong, I had been listening to a little tiny bit of Slipknot beforehand. I liked Psychosocial, but that was basically it. But then the Negative One comes out, and everyone's all like, yeah, oh my goodness, it's the first song they've released in 5 years since the death of bassist Paul Gray, rest in peace, by the way. And, oh, it's a new Slipknot song, and I'm like, you know, I don't really listen to Slipknot that much. Let's listen to the Negative One. And I'm greeted by a slow intro, an opening guitar riff that's very dirty and muddy, and then very energetic noises. And it's really enjoyable to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing! I've been missing out on this my whole life? Dude, sign me up for more Slipknot! And then I start listening to the Negative One quite a bit, and then I wait a while until October comes, and Slipknot's .5, The Gray Chapter, is released, and this is really when a big change in my music taste started to come. Up until that point, I was listening to basically the pop punks. I was listening to basically only pop punk and Avenged Sevenfold up until October when The Gray Chapter came out, and I was like, oh, let's get this new Slipknot album, yes, 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 yes. I have been experienced in listening to metal before because I listened to Avenged Sevenfold. That makes me eligible to listen to Slipknot. And I remember getting myself this album before school, listening to the first 3 tracks before going to school, and then coming home, walking home with a huge smile on my face because I was like, yes, we're gonna listen to the new Slipknot album, and this is gonna be a great experience. And believe me, it was. From October until January 1st, all I listened to was Slipknot, starting off with .5, The Gray Chapter. This is when a big revolutionary change came into my life when it came to music. I started listening to Slipknot a lot, and then I started listening to more Slipknot, got all the rest of their other albums. Iowa was the first one I got, then Volume 3 to Subliminal Verses, All Hope Is Gone, and then their self-titled, in that order. Just filled with all this anger and hatred. Slipknot really did influence me to have that whole everything is negative attitude about life. Not saying that Slipknot is a bad band and that it'll make you worship the devil or anything, but it forced me to start thinking about things in a kind of nihilistic point of view where nothing really matters and everything I do is all gonna go to waste and everyone sucks and there's no point in living and everything. That's really what Slipknot's music aspired to make me think. And really, that's not a bash on Slipknot, that's just a personal experience that happened to be caused by me listening to Slipknot's music. Notice I said me very prominently because that implies that it's strictly me. This might not happen to you, this might happen to others, I don't know, but Slipknot's not a bad band by all means. Slipknot is just a band that influenced me to start thinking like a nihilist and just destroyed my entire consciousness when it came to worth and self-worth and viewing the world as a beautiful thing. And really, let's face it, you know, what else are you gonna get from a 14-year-old teenage kid, right? Like, Slipknot, October 2014, I'm 14 years old listening to Slipknot up until January 1st of 2015. Because January 1st of 2015, this is when I got Infinity on High by Fall Out Boy. And this is really a big step back in what I listened to, because Fall Out Boy's Infinity on High was very euphonious music. I really enjoyed the vocals, the performances on that. The production was incredible. It was an album that really started to give me feels. I loved Infinity on High so much. It was all I listened to for about 2 months. You know, January 1st comes along, Infinity on High comes on, and I start listening to it nonstop. That was my moving music. You guys know that I moved just over a year ago. Whenever we would go back to our old house and take things and move them to the new house, all I would be listening to would be Infinity on High by Fall Out Boy. So every time I think of that, every time I listen to that, it makes me think of moving, and it gives me all the feels of a year ago. Because I was so into Fall Out Boy, on February 23rd, I got myself American Beauty, American Psycho, the new Fall Out Boy album. Hard to believe it's still new, it was released a year ago, but this is an album that I really did enjoy. Not as much as Infinity on High, because Infinity on High was definitely one of my favorite albums of all time, but American Beauty, American Psycho was an album that I really did enjoy as well. And it really did start this other revolution in my mind. I had the whole Slipknot phase from October to January, October 2014 that is, to January 2015, and then January 1st to about late March, it was almost all Fall Out Boy. Along with a new album from Sleeping with Sirens, Madness. It was called Madness. It was a very good album, you know, I really enjoyed it. As well as a few Yellowcard singles here and there. Rough Landing Holly and, Ocean Avenue. I really enjoyed those as well, but really the main musical taste for me from January 1st to late March was Fall Out Boy. Strictly Fall Out Boy. I got myself all the other albums by Fall Out Boy as well in this time, and it was just a very nice experience, you know? On April 3rd, another big change happened to my music taste because All Time Low released Future Hearts. This is an album that I had been waiting for. I followed the singles that All Time Low released. I followed Something's Gotta Give in January. I really enjoyed that. I got Kids in the Dark later in that year, and this was something that I thought was very, 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 very good. Just amazing. And then all of a sudden on April 3rd, Future Hearts comes out, and it's the best thing ever. It's the only thing I'm listening to for a while, and this is just a big, 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 big change from what I had before because I listened to Slipknot all the time. So what we've got here is we've got a whole bunch of Fall Out Boy and All Time Low's Future Hearts. We're in April right now. Now from April to July, this is when I had IT in second semester for third block, and in IT we were allowed to listen to music like all class, so basically this is the time when I really did expand on my music. Well, not really expand, but I just added to it. I wouldn't really say expand because I wasn't really indulging in anything new. It was the same type of style, but it was just different artists. So basically the prominent albums that I got during this time were The Killers, Hot Fuss, and Sam's Town. Then there was Home, Like No Place Is There by the Hotelier. More Yellowcard, this is When You're Through Thinking, Say Yes, Southern Air, and Paper Walls. Quiet World by Native Construct. Is a Real Boy by Say Anything. Vices and Virtues by Panic at the Disco. Metropolis Part 2 by Dream Theater. The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me by Brand New. This is a very, very big one. As well as Talking Is Hard by Walk the Moon. Yes, that's right, Walk the Moon, the band that made Shut Up and Dance. Please, it was very, very good. So, to recap, from April to July, it was mostly those albums, and the big albums from that were the Hotelier's Home, Like No Place Was There. That's just very emotional, and it was very, very nice to listen to. It was just a summary of grief, and that's really all that was. It was a very, very well done album. And when it comes to grief and sadness and all that, nothing really stands out than Brand New's The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me, which has some very abstract meanings and abstract lyrics, very explicit lyrics as well. It's a very well done album, and it just has so much emotion in it. It's just amazing to listen to. It's an amazing experience. Also with that, there was The Killers, you know, Hot Fuss was a very good album, and really all the albums in here are albums that I listened to from April to July, and, you know, it's not really, expanding on my music taste. It's adding more artists, yeah, sure, but it's not really expanding because I'm not really adding any more new genres or anything. It's just taking what's already there and taking things like it and bringing it in and making me enjoy it. Earlier in the year, I had watched a movie called The Last 5 Years. Now, this is a movie based off of a play, and the movie version of this play starred Anna Kendrick and Jeremy Jordan. On August 8th, this was the big revolution when it came to music because I got the soundtrack for this film. It was a soundtrack that had individual singers on it. It wasn't bands or anything. It was very orchestrated music, and it was stuff that I just enjoyed so much. Even to this day, I can sing to any song that's from that play. The Last 5 Years is definitely a very good audible experience for me, and it just really showed because I got the album for the soundtrack and it was amazing, you know? It really opened my mind to, maybe it's not all about bands. Maybe there is some other good music out there that's done by individual singers and not just bands, because up until this point I had only been listening to bands. Like, when I made that video for the top 25 most played songs in my iTunes library, it was all bands. MCR, Green Day, Blink. And then Slipknot happened, that was all bands. Fall Out Boy and All Time Low come back, that's bands. April to July, it's like The Killers, the Hotelier, those are all bands. So, right when this comes, The Last 5 Years soundtrack hits me. Man, there are some good individual singers out there. I should really listen to more of this stuff. Now we're in the middle of August and I've been listening to Neck Deep and Frank Turner's new albums. Now, Frank Turner, Positive Songs for Negative People is the album that he released. I didn't actually hear of him until his album was released because his album was getting a bit of praise on some of the sites I was visiting. So I decided to listen to it and it was like, this is actually really good. Like, there are a whole bunch of experiences on this album that stand out to me because the title of the album, Positive Songs for Negative People, it really does describe the album, in my opinion. Frank Turner did have a lot of nice concepts on this album, and the production of the album was just very nice. And then Neck Deep's Life's Not Out to Get You, released in mid-August, I believe. It was a very nice experience as well, I'd been into the pop-punk stuff before, so I knew how to enjoy pop-punk, and Neck Deep really did bring back those roots. Can't kick up the roots, Sticking with pop-punk a little bit, the band State Champs starts releasing little songs on their record label's YouTube channel. They started off with Secrets, and when I heard this song, I was like, oh my gosh, State Champs is a band that I've never heard of before, and they make some very good pop-punk music, so let's listen to some of them. So I start listening to a bit of the stuff that they have, and then sticking with pop punk, on September 3rd, I started listening to About a Girl by The Academy Is. And this is a song that I enjoyed because of its lyrical content and very happy tunes. I got the album for this as well, Fast Times at Barrington High, I believe was what it was called. And this was a nice experience, I liked the pop punk vibes that it gave off. And really, this is when I started going a little bit back more into the bandy side of things, and because of this, on October 22nd, I got myself Paramore's Brand New Eyes. Paramore has been a band that I listened to previously, but not really that much. I listened to a little bit of Riot, Crush, That's What You Get, Misery Business, of course, but Brand New Eyes is really when I started listening to Paramore full-time, and I listened to Paramore a lot. I liked Brand New Eyes so much. And then on November 14th, I got myself Paramore's self-titled album, and that just expanded even more on Paramore and what they offered to the table in terms of band music. And it was very nice. I liked Paramore so much. I was kind of in this little thing of Neck Deep, State Champs, The Academy Is, Paramore, and of course, taking this stuff and combining it with the old pop-punk stuff of before. It was pretty good. November 27th comes along, and I get myself Michael Bublé, It's Time. And this is an album that I was very hesitant to get because I like Michael Bublé's songs before, I have parents that listen to Michael Bublé. I like a lot of Michael Bublé's singles, but to get an album of his, be that dedicated to his music? Maybe not, this might not work out, but I got it anyway. I got It's Time by Michael Bublé on November 27th. It was a very good album in my opinion. It really did open my mind and start expanding my music taste to songs made by individual artists. It was a very nice revolution for me, but the album wasn't necessarily 100% for me. There were some moments where I thought it was too slow, but I do understand the feel that he was going for on that album, and I really did enjoy the album overall. Now, what happens is December comes along and I'm still listening to a bit of Paramore, a little bit of State Champs, and all these other bands and everything. So on December 10th, I'm listening to mostly Paramore. And I go onto Fueled by Ramen's YouTube channel because Fueled by Ramen is the record label for Paramore. So I'm looking at Fueled by Ramen's videos, and then I see this one video that's got quite a bit of views. It's at like 30-something million. I look at the artist's name, and I was like, I recognize that. And I'm like, let's look at this video that's on Fueled by Ramen. And this video I'm talking about is Car Radio by 21 Pilots. This song was unique. I started listening to it and I was like, oh, 21 Pilots is a rap group. I see. But then the synth came in and I was like, wait, is this rap or is this techno or what exactly is 21 Pilots? But it's something that I like. I liked Car Radio. I liked it a lot. Shared it with a few of my friends. They were like, this is really weird, but it was something that I enjoyed. I enjoyed it so much that I got the album Vessel 3 days later on December 13th, 2015. Now, Vessel by 21 Pilots was an album that, when I started things off, I was like, oh, so they're a bit of a rap group, but then they've got a whole bunch of synth and everything. This is interesting, but then Tyler started singing, and I was like, oh, he can sing too. What exactly is 21 Pilots? I have no idea what they are, but they're on Fueled by Ramen, so that's how I was able to find them. They have some nice music. I really enjoy their music. Vessel is just an absolutely fantastic album, exquisite piece of music that I love listening to, and it was really all that I listened to up until the end of 2015. Vessel was something that it just changed my mind when it came to rap music. I don't want to call it rap because he's not really rapping, he's just talking fast, but Vessel did open my mind when it came to rap music and everything like that. Now on January 14th, 2016, I get myself the first album of the year, and that is Carly Rae Jepsen's Emotion. This right here is an album that I saw had some praise online. It was an album that one of my friends told me to look at, and it was an album that one of my friends told me was really good. And I was like, you know what? I really like you, it's an okay song, but it's a bit overplayed and it's a bit catchy, so why would I get the full album? But I did anyways. I got myself Carly Rae Jepsen's Emotion, and honestly, it's one of the most enjoyable albums I've ever listened to, hands down. Emotion by Carly Rae Jepsen is just such a good album. Like, I didn't think I'd ever be saying that, If you told me 2 years ago that in 2 years I'd be listening to Carly Rae Jepsen, I'd be like, what? Are you serious? Because really, that's just a whole big revolution. I was only into bands and everything. And then all of a sudden, I'm starting to listen to 21 Pilots, which is a rap duo, and then Carly Rae Jepsen's Emotion, which is really good. It's just very weird how the change has happened, and it's not really a change, I don't want to call it a change because I can still enjoy the pop punk and the metals and all that. It's just that I've expanded the music taste a little bit. Mid-January comes and I get myself the 21 Pilots B-sides, I believe, regional at best. I don't really know what it is because it's like a whole bunch of their previous mixes of songs and everything, and I enjoy this a lot. It's a very raw version of Vessel with a few other songs as well, and then I start listening to a bit more 21 Pilots music videos and all that. I haven't listened to Blurry Face yet, which is something I probably should be doing, but I haven't yet. But I did listen to Stressed Out, of course, and then Stressed Out starts getting a whole bunch of playtime on the radio, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this duo that I'm listening to is getting a lot of playtime on the radio. That's awesome. It's awesome how insanely popular they are now. So it's really interesting because I haven't really been interested in any music that is very mainstream until now. So it's a good experience opening things up with 21 Pilots. So I'm listening to a lot of 21 Pilots, which was influenced by the whole pop punk thing in Paramore. And I like the rap aspects of 21 Pilots. Why not get an actual rap album? Let's get one of the critically acclaimed ones. One of the ones that my friends have been telling me to listen to for a long time now. To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. This album, oh my goodness, I do realize now why it was nominated for Album of the Year, why it won Rap Album of the Year. I do believe it did get robbed of Album of the Year by Taylor Swift's 1989 or whatever it was called. But regardless, To Pimp a Butterfly had so many abstract concepts and very well executed ideas. It was just such a pleasant, audible experience. It was a very, very, very well done album, and I am very happy that I listened to it. because then it expanded my music taste when it came to rap music. 2 years ago, I really wouldn't have said that I liked rap. You know, rap was one of the things that I didn't like that much because I thought it was overplayed, I thought it was dumb, but then 2 years later, while listening to some pop punk and Paramore, I get introduced to 21 Pilots. 21 Pilots introduces me to rap, and rap introduces me to Kendrick Lamar, and soon to be, on February 18th, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West. And up until this point, I thought Kanye was like a joke, because all the things he said online and all the things online said about him were just very weird and interesting, so I was like, no, not Kanye, but I get myself My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West, and it's honestly such a good album. Like, it's very, very well done, and it's such a pleasant listening experience, and it really does help expand, along with the Pimp a Butterfly, my taste in rap music. I'm starting to get into a whole bunch of mainstream music right now, and I think to myself, this is weird, you know? Like, I'm listening to all the songs that the hip kids listen to. This is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. March 2nd comes along and I listen to another album. This time it's a pop one. Sticking with the Carly Rae Jepsens and the Michael Bublés, I get myself MIKA, The Origin of Love. The reason I got this album was because in French class we listened to a song called Elle me dit, and this was a song that was very nice, you know, it was very synthy, it was very happy, got a nice melody to it, but the reason it stood out to me was because the artist's name was MIKA. And I was like to the teacher, hey, isn't MIKA the same guy who made that song in English, Sucking Too Hard on a Lollipop, Oh Love's Gonna Get You Down? And indeed it was. Little did we know that MIKA made French songs as well as English songs, so Elle me dit was one of the songs that I enjoyed listening to. I started listening to it voluntarily in my spare time. Elle me dit écrit une chanson contente, pas une chanson déprimante. But it was something that I really did enjoy, and I thought to myself, you know what, if this is this good, let's get ourselves the full album. And luckily for me, the album that it was on was actually an English album, and Elle me dit was it was one of the bonus tracks, along with a few other French songs. There were quite a few French songs as bonus tracks on The Origin of Love by MIKA, but I do say so myself, The Origin of Love by MIKA is a very, very good pop album. It's very enjoyable, and I'm going to be the first to admit it's not really the best when it comes to lyrics, it's not really the best when it comes to concepts, but in terms of overall feeling, it's awesome, and I just love listening to that because it makes me so happy. March 3rd comes along and I'm listening to Untitled Unmastered by Kendrick Lamar. March 6th comes along and I'm starting to listen to Yeezus by Kanye West. These two albums help expand the rap even more, along with To Pimp a Butterfly and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Nowadays, this is where I am. I can enjoy the pop punks, I can enjoy the My Chemical Romance, the Green Day, the Blink-182s, I can enjoy the metals, I can enjoy the Avenged Sevenfolds and the Slipknots. I can enjoy the pop music, the Anna Kendricks, the Jeremy Jordans, the Michael Bublés, Carly Rae Jepsens, MIKAs, and so on and so forth. And I can enjoy the raps too. I can enjoy the 21 Pilots. I don't even know if they're rap. I don't want to call them rap because I don't think they're really rap. I can enjoy Kendrick Lamar and Kanye West. My music taste hasn't really changed, but it has just expanded. Voluntarily, I won't really listen to the same music that I did 2 years ago, but I can still enjoy it. It's still stuff that I like listening to. Fall Out Boy and All Time Low, very, very good. I loved those songs. They bring me back to a year ago. Really, nowadays, I just listen to whatever I find is good. On my history, you'll find a lot of Backstreet Boys, Kelly Clarkson, Disney songs, and anime theme songs. My music taste does vary a lot, and I'm proud of it because it helps me understand many different aspects of life, and it helps me capture different feelings of things in life. That was the big, long update to my music taste. I don't know when the next one will be, but it'll probably be in a few years. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're listening to your download, subscribe, like, and subscribe, gaming, and bye.